You guys watch the national media, right? Can you believe some of the hot takes they said about the Philadelphia Eagles this week? Today, we're going to jump into the hottest takes of the week from Colin Cowherd, Mike Greenberg, Pat McAfee, and react to them today. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into the Thomas Mott Show on a Friday. And I decided we need a new segment here on the Thomas Mott Show. Every Friday from here on out, if you guys enjoy this segment, it's going to be a reaction Friday. We are going to look at the 3, 4, 5 hottest takes of the week regarding the Philadelphia Eagles from national media outlets. Today, we'll look at Colin Cowherd, we'll look at Mike Greenberg, we'll look at Steve Smith, we'll look at Pat McAfee, and see what they're saying about the Philadelphia Eagles. This is not just them saying, oh, this is about the Eagles. These are hot takes, and this is what they do. It's the national media. Hot takes sells. That's why we're talking about them. But I found some crazy hot takes today, and we're going to go ahead and react to those on this edition of the Thomas Mott Show. If you like the show, thumbs up. If you want to subscribe and hit the bell, do that right now. Okay, the first one is one I watched live. I was watching Colin Cowherd during lunch yesterday. I'm not a Colin Cowherd hater. I don't think he's, terrible like a lot of people do. He had a take, though, yesterday about the Philadelphia Eagles that made my jaw drop, and it was just, shocking to go ahead and watch. Let's react to it here right now.
I think they have the personnel of those four. In the NFL, if you're brutally honest, I think there's 4 teams that can win it. The Chiefs and the Bills are obvious. The NFC's weaker, so you have to count Brady, all those players in the Bucs. And the Niners are missing 5 high-end starters, and they're still physically pushing everybody in the league around. When the Niners get healthy, it's the best roster in the league, and Garoppolo already made 1 Super Bowl. And the NFC was much tougher the year he made it. It is wide open now.
Okay, he's not wrong about that. The Philadelphia Eagle take comes in a second. He's not wrong about everything that he just said, although best roster in the league for the 49ers, Philadelphia's roster is pretty good too, right? Let's keep going.
And then there's the Eagles. And I think the Eagles, like the Sixers and like the Mets, fool you. The Mets don't have the hitters. I don't trust the chemistry Harden and Embiid's help for the Sixers. Let's be honest about Philadelphia. Buffalo's missing 5 to 6 starters. High-end starters, Pro Bowlers. San Francisco similarly, missing their best safety, best corner, 2 defensive linemen, a Hall of Fame left tackle, a star running back. Philadelphia is healthy.
Is that a knock on Philadelphia? Is being healthy 5 weeks into the NFL season a knock on Philadelphia? Is that bad? Should Philadelphia not be healthy right now? What? Okay, so the first reason the Eagles are not a Super Bowl champion or Super Bowl caliber team, in the words of Colin Cowherd, is they're healthy. Explain that one to me. Let's keep going.
They've gotten breaks with weather. It's a run team, and they've played in a couple of soggy games.
No, they haven't. They played in 1 soggy game. Literally, opening day, dome against Detroit. Week 2, Monday night against the Vikings, it was perfectly clear weather. Week 3 against the Washington Commanders, it was sunny and noon kickoff. And then Week 4, it was soggy. 1 soggy game, Colin, not multiple.
Last year, they got into the playoffs, and they kind of fooled us, right? 9-8, got into the playoffs. What were they against playoff teams last year? Do you remember? 0-6.
Is this the same team? Is this the same team from last year? No, this is a completely different team. I mean, you can go down the list. Jalen Hurts looks like a completely different player. They have another superstar at wide receiver. They got way better on the defensive line. The linebackers took another step forward. They added a Pro Bowl caliber right now cornerback in the National Football League and upgraded at safety, okay? This is not the 9-8 Eagles from last year. Oh, and Sirianni and Gannon are in year 2.
And at one point in that playoff game, trailed 31-0. You think that's a Super Bowl team?
Not last year, no. But this isn't last year. This makes no sense. Literally, this is not last year's football team. We're talking about this year's football team.
They're healthy. They've gotten a weather break. They've yet to play from behind in the second half of a football game. We know Buffalo can play.
How is that a knock? Again, how is being healthy, playing well in weather, because they're built both ways, run and pass, not being bad last year and not having to come from behind in the second half? How are those knocks? This was a take. This was a crazy take. He just goes on to kind of repeat everything there. That was the craziest one of the week, and that one was yesterday. And he's been a big Eagle guy. I mean, he picked the Eagles to win the division, and yet saying the fact that they are all of those things, meaning they're not Super Bowl contenders, and Jimmy G is... Whew, that's a good first one. Let me know what you guys think about that one. That's a good first one. Okay, let's go over here to, let's at least give you a good one. Here's a good one. Here's Steve Smith or the NFL Network, Steve Smith, the former Panther wide receiver, on the Rich Eisen show. Let's react to this one. I mentioned, or I saw this one on Twitter yesterday.
The best team in the NFL through 4 weeks, in your estimation?
Has to be the Philadelphia Eagles. Just remarkable to what they're doing. Nick Sirianni.
What? Nick Sirianni? Steve, yes, good start, Steve, but Nick Sirianni's not his name.
What he's doing, you can see his game plan varies each week. Is based on his opponent. There are coaches out there that are doing things like you talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I love what Doug Peterson was doing. I did not like what Doug Peterson did last week because...
Stay on focus, Steve. We're talking about the Eagles here, not Doug Peterson.
As you watch on the football field, you watch that tape, it was not raining on half of the field. It was raining on both sides of the field. But yet you had one team, the Philadelphia Eagles, who adapted and ran plays that were successful, and you had another team that was trying to throw the ball, and it cost them. And I just love what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing. Jalen Hurts is playing wonderful. Defense is playing lights out. The wide receivers are Slim Reaper, A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders.
It is funny there, though, quickly, he's right about all of this. Although saying that the Jaguars chose to throw the football last week, I don't know if they chose to throw the football. The Eagles are hard to run against, guys. I mean, DeAndre Swift kind of fixed this narrative that Philadelphia's not a great run defense because he ran all over the Eagles week 1. Since then, Cook did nothing. I can't even name a Washington Commander running back, but they did nothing. You can go back to last week. They did not. I mean, since week 1, the Eagle rushing attack has been really good.
It's really becoming a team. When you talk about the NFC East, everybody wants to say it's the Cowboys to lose. It's really...
No one says that anymore. Literally nobody says that anymore.
Really starting to become dominant. And the fact, when's the last time we've been able to ever talk about the NFC East and say the Philadelphia Eagles at the same time? It's been a long time.
It's not been... This was something that I mentioned in the show the other day, how Pat McAfee, and we'll get to him in a second, Pat McAfee said a similar thing, like the Eagles have been a dumpster fire recently. What are we talking about here? Go through the Eagles the past 5 years, or really since the Super Bowl win. They win a Super Bowl, they almost go back to the NFC Championship game, then they almost beat Russell Wilson in that wild card round. Yes, they had the 4-win season, but that's one, and then 9-8 last year they went to the postseason. What is this idea that when we talk about the NFC East, we've not recently talked about the Philadelphia Eagles? What? Again, it's national media people who don't watch every single team every single week. Can't blame them, right? I'm sure Steve Smith would rather watch his Panthers than the Philadelphia Eagles, but you get these little, tidbits here and there that are fun to react to. Okay, let's keep going here on the Thomas Mott Show. Another one. This one was brought to my attention. It's just a little weird. So Sirianni's on Pat McAfee, and I read McAfee the other day. I like Pat McAfee. I think the show's great. The guy's built an empire. You see that? I mean, he's got 199 or 1.99 million subs. He's a big deal. But this like mocking of Nick Sirianni on the show, I don't know why you would go back on this after being Nick Sirianni.
How often this has happened to you, but there's another coach that wants to talk to you. Coach Sirianni, your question for Coach Sirianni.
Coach, it's great to finally be able to talk to you. I feel like I know you just as good as I know myself. We've talked a lot.
I guess the idea here is like the pens, because Nick Sirianni will put a pen up there, although he should have worn a visor, because did you see Nick wears visors? He's laughing, so it's not that big a deal, but that's not a very good impression, right?
Dog mentality. I want to tell you what dog mentality means to me.
Is he supposed to sound like Nick Sirianni too? Because he doesn't sound like Nick Sirianni at all.
Okay, it's having more bite than you have bark. It's being ferocious and vicious. It's playing in a parking lot like Vince Papale if necessary. Doing all these little things we need to do to prepare to win a game. But my question for you is, do you know right away if a guy has dog mentality?
I don't understand the mocking of dog mentality. It's not a Nick Sirianni thing. That's like an NFL thing in general. And he's got the dog mentality shirt on, I guess. And so, I don't know.
If he doesn't have dog mentality, is there anything you can do to kind of bring that dog mentality out of him?
Clearly, he knows what dog mentality is and knows where to find him because the entire team is full of dogs right now, and they're the only undefeated team left in the NFC. In the NFL. Okay, let's go over here to, this was an interesting one. So this is Speak for Yourself. I guess the new look Speak for Yourself. You see Shady McCoy over there on the left. Joy Taylor, that's Sam Acho. I don't know who this guy is on the right. I don't know if they're going to show it to us. This one was sent to me as well. He has some interesting takes on Philadelphia. Take a listen.
But clearly, the key word there is clearly. Look, the Eagles are the last unbeaten team. I'm going to give them their respect.
All right, please do.
Shameless plug. I do power rankings on FoxSports.com. The Eagles will be number 1.
So he's a writer. That's what that tells you. He's a writer.
On that list.
Smart man.
Clearly the best team. No, come on. I mean, y'all saw the Chiefs play last night. You watched that game.
Okay. Recency bias comes in here. If the Eagles aren't clearly the number 1 team, and then you say you saw the Chiefs last week, did you see the Chiefs against the Colts 2 weeks ago? Because they lost and they looked terrible. Did you see the Colts last night on Thursday Night Football? That team beat the Chiefs, okay? To just the clearly the Chiefs have a loss, okay?
Mm-hmm. The Bills are still there. If the Chiefs and the Eagles played on a neutral field today, who are you taking? Who are you taking?
An undefeated team.
Okay, all right. Okay, like that's fine. I'll take the
Is your jacket tight?
I mean, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that regardless.
Yeah, baby.
I'm gonna look, the Eagles are one of the 3 best teams in the league.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to say they are clearly the best.
Okay, again, thank you for Shady being there. I'd love to have Shady on the show, by the way. You should go ahead and definitely come on the Thomas Mott Show. Chiefs on a neutral field, I would take Philadelphia. And I know there's a banner, and I know I have this new Eagle shirt. I got it at the link, and there's a picture over there, and there's green lights. I know, and Shady's an Eagle. He's an Eagle fan, right? Best time of the league was whenever he was with Philadelphia. Neutral field, though, you really think Kansas City is going to blow out Philadelphia? Do you genuinely think that? I don't think that. I don't think Kansas City would blow out Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia matches up with anybody. They get pressure defensively. They have linebackers that fill gaps and right now can cover with Kazir White. They have 2 Pro Bowl caliber cornerbacks. One might be an All-Pro in the NFC, depending on who it is, because both are playing great. They are not weak at safety. Epps is a really great tackler. He's played great in pass defense, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson's very, very good. They can run the ball down your throat. They have 2 super elite wide receivers and 1 wide receiver who's an absolute burner. They have one of the top 5 tight ends in the National Football League, and right now, an MVP candidate at quarterback. Clearly. What is this clearly idea? Okay, one more here. Let's just go ahead and do one more. I'm having fun with this. This is Get Up. This is Mike Greenberg, Dan Graziano, and Bart Scott. Greenberg, this isn't a hot take. Maybe it is. He hasn't actually, I've been ripping these guys. I think his take right here is fascinating. Take a listen to this.
If they are able to do that, I think you could make an argument that there is no team in football that is better positioned, not only now, but in recent memory, than the Eagles are. Because the best thing you could be in the entire sport is to have a high draft pick and a year where there are a lot of quarterbacks that people want and to not need one.
Yeah.
Right. The Eagles have the Saints pick. They could have a top 5 pick and not need a quarterback. And oh, by the way, win the Super Bowl. They could do all those things at the same time. But what we have...
Okay, pause there. He makes a great point. And I've talked about the draft pick before on the show. I've talked about it a couple days ago. Right now, the Saints pick is number 4 overall. They're 1-3. That can change. He's right, though. If the Eagles have a top 5 pick, let's just say the Saints have a top 3 pick. You can trade out of there for someone who wants Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. This is a great quarterback draft, and you can get 3 first-round draft picks and 2 second-round draft picks for that. You could look for a Colts team who's going to finish, with the 14th overall draft pick, or you can look for a Washington Commanders team who's not going to want to stay on Carson Wentz. They could come up from the teens and trade you the sun, moon, and stars to get that draft pick. Greenberg's right. And you could also win a Super Bowl this year, so you have a pick at 3 and a pick at 32, or a pick at 4 and a pick at 31 if they were to lose the Super Bowl. Greenberg is right. It's a great point that I haven't made yet. We're going to at least react to and acknowledge that. Let's just go ahead and finish here.
To take into account, the first way that we are presupposing is that they are totally set at quarterback. Mike T, if you're the general manager in Philadelphia, have you already decided, I don't need a QB, Jalen Hurts is my guy for the long haul?
Not yet, but boy, I'm close, Greedy.
Okay, again, do you rip Mike T for saying that? No, because it is only 4 games, but the eye test tells you that you're there. The eye test tells you that he is there. And unless Jalen Hurts were to absolutely fall off a cliff, and I mean, you go the Max Kellerman, Tom Brady analogy of just nosediving, they have their quarterback of the future, and they won't need Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. Okay, that's the new segment here. Thomas Mott reacts to the hot takes, the hot takes that happen in the national media. If you guys find any during the week, tweet me at @RealThomasMott, and I'll react to them on next Friday's show. We'll go ahead and wrap up with our national story of the day here, as we always do on the Thomas Mott Show. And a quick little teaser: we are going to talk about the Cardinals game tomorrow. I'll get that video up for you guys tomorrow. I know we get a lot of people enjoying the preview stuff. I think Philadelphia Philadelphia's going to crush Arizona. I think it can be a big win for Philadelphia to go to 5-0 and maybe get some of these national pundits to clearly see the Eagles as a number one football team. But we'll talk about that tomorrow, so subscribe and hit that notification little bell button thing. That way you can be ready for that. Okay, quick take here on Denver and the Colts. It was a nightmare last night. I watched this one all the way through, which was a mistake because I'm on the East Coast, and so I was up till like 11:30 last night. I don't know if you can fully blame Russell Wilson. Russell looks terrible, by the way, and he gets a lot of blame. I think they're going to make Nathaniel Hackett the scapegoat. I think they're going to totally go Hackett. For whatever reason, he's just not clicked in Denver. He doesn't seem like a really good NFL head coach. They're going to axe him at the end of this year and try and reset, because the big take on Russell Wilson is, what are you going to do with him? Right? You paid him $250 million. There is no leaving Denver. There is no getting out of Denver. And I think he will figure things out. I think Denver will eventually become pesky, to play this year. But they are not the juggernaut team I thought they were. And they should be. I mean, they had Javonte Williams. They had Melvin Gordon. They had Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler. Like, they should be good. Pat Surtain, Bradley Chubb. They have decent linebackers. They should be good. Jeffrey Simmons. And they are absolutely terrible all the way around. Sure, maybe defensively they're not bad, but offensively, they're just an absolute mess, and this is by no means a playoff team, and Hackett's going to get axed because of this. Same thing is going to go for the Colts, just flip the roles there. I think they like Frank Reich. I think Frank Reich's a great coach, former Eagle, obviously. I think Matt Ryan is the issue there. The problem is you're paying him like $40 million a year. I could see the Colts being that team that goes, hey, we are wasting DeForest Buckner. We are wasting Michael Pittman. We are wasting Jonathan Taylor. We are wasting the great linebacker that they have. They've got to get a quarterback. Maybe they're a team that trades with Philadelphia next year in the draft and moves up to get C.J. Stroud, who would make a lot of sense, being in kind of the similar area geographically in the United States, or Bryce Young, depending on who they like. Okay, there you go. That is the Friday edition of the Thomas Mott Show. If you guys like the show and you like listening to it on your drive to work or your drive home from work, just hit that thumbs up button. I would appreciate that. Trying to give you guys some great Philadelphia Eagles and NFL content here, as we do every single day. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Might do a pregame show live on Sunday, so stay tuned for that as well. I'm Thomas Mott. It's been the Thomas Mott Show.